Hello everyone, welcome to the Conservative Millennial, a channel that looks at politics from a conservative millennial's viewpoint. So, it happened, we did it, Trump won, awesome, obviously, great result, the result we wanted. And I just wanted to look at a couple of things, analyze a couple of things that we learned from the night. I wanted to wait until all of the numbers came in, which were over a week past. They still haven't, which is pretty ridiculous, but I think we have enough numbers that we can look at a couple of things and see what can be learned from what happened on Tuesday. So, first of all, the polls are still terrible. They still cannot get it right. Now, what will be interesting to watch in 2028 is whether this is a uniquely Trump problem, whether they're just incapable of accurately capturing Trump voters, or if they're just completely bunk regardless of who the candidate is. So, looking at the battlegrounds, Arizona, they projected Trump plus 2.8. Arizona actually went Trump plus 5.7. So almost 3 points off there. Next, Nevada, Trump plus 0.6. It actually ended up as Trump plus 3.1. So off by 2.5 points. They had Wisconsin, Harris plus 0.4. It went Trump plus 0.9, so about 1.5 off there. They had Michigan plus 0.5. Michigan went Trump plus 1.4, so about 2 points off there. Pennsylvania plus 0.4. Trump actually won it by 1.9. That one was closer than most, but still a 1.5 off. North Carolina had Trump plus 1.2. Trump won it by 3.4. And finally, Georgia, Trump plus 1.3. It actually went Trump plus 2.2. So the big thing about this is that they are all within the margin of error. Yes. Well, I don't think Arizona was. I think Arizona was outside the margin of error, but all the others are within the projected typical 3-point margin of error for polls. But when all of them are off towards the heavy end of that margin of error, all in the same direction, then that's a problem. That's not, oh, the polls just obviously can't be 100% accurate. They're always wrong in the same direction by a heavy part of the margin of error. It's not like the margin of error is 3 and they're off by half a point. It's that they're close to that higher end of the margin of error, and it's always in the same direction. So, yeah, polls, completely useless. We learned that, even though we kind of already knew it. Second of all, Ohio and Florida are no longer swing states, especially Florida. Trump won Florida by 13.1 points. That is a heavier margin than Kamala Harris won New York by. She won it by 11.8. Trump won Florida by 13.1 points. If Florida's a swing state now, New York is as well. And Ohio has gone reliably red in multiple elections as well, and also was a 11.3 margin, which is, again, almost as much as New York. So if Ohio and or Florida are swing states, so is New York. Obviously, no one would say New York is a swing state, so that's a big thing that we learned as well. Also, Texas, Trump won it by 14 points. And even the Senate race that was supposedly in contention, Ted Cruz won it by almost 9 points. They keep saying on the left that Texas is purple. Texas is trending blue. Texas is going to flip blue soon. It could flip blue this year. No, it's not. It's not even close. Texas went extremely hard red this year. The only time it looked even relatively in doubt was in 2018, a midterm election, when it was Cruz versus Beto O'Rourke. That was clearly an outlier because Cruz won his first election by a landslide and won this election by a landslide. And all 3 Trump years, 2016, 2020, 2024, Trump won by a landslide. So Texas is not close to going blue. They really need to stop saying that because it's not happening. The final thing I wanted to look at was that this election was a major repudiation of everything that the left has espoused for the last 4 years with Biden in office, and a major mandate for Trump and Republicans in general. Trump won an electoral landslide bigger than even his 2016 victory, which 2016 you could say wasn't a landslide because even though it was a pretty big margin in the Electoral College, it was decided by a couple thousand votes in some of the key states that won him the election. This is not that. Not only is it a bigger margin than in the Electoral College than it was in 2016 because he did not win Nevada in 2016, but also all of the swing states. First of all, he swept them all, and all of them pretty big margins. 2.2 in Georgia, like we looked at, 3.4 in North Carolina, almost 2 points in Pennsylvania, almost 6 points in Arizona. Big margins. And if he won those without winning Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, he still wins by a good margin. So he didn't even need all of the battlegrounds, but he won them all, and most of them he won by big margins. So this was a landslide, probably the biggest kind of landslide that you're going to see now. I don't think we're ever going to see a Reagan-type landslide in either direction anymore. It's just not going to happen. But this is kind of what you would call a landslide from pretty much now on. It's about as big as it's probably going to be, at least for the foreseeable future. And Trump won a landslide. He also won the popular vote by 2 points. He lost to Biden by over 4 points. He lost by 7 million votes, roughly. This year, he won it by 2 points, roughly. Not all the votes are in. That may diminish a little bit, but like I said, we're close enough that I think we can safely say it's going to be close to 2 points that he won it by. He gained about 1.5 million votes, despite the fact that turnout just in general in this election was low. He still gained. So even though 2020 was a historic year as far as turnout went, and this year was still higher than what we've seen in most elections in the past, it wasn't at that same kind of level that 2020 was. And yet he still gained about 1.5 million votes, maybe more as the numbers continue to trickle in, and he won by about 3 million votes. So that is from a negative 7 million to a positive 3 million deficit or margin. That is a massive swing and a massive repudiation of the left, saying, we voted you in, Biden, and you destroyed the country. So a lot of people aren't going to turn out for you, or Harris, technically, but she was in his administration, so you would, and she said she wouldn't do anything different. So you expect another continuation of what Biden did, just with a different figurehead. And turnout for them plummeted from 81 million roughly in 2020 to shy of 73 million this year. Massive drop off, and Trump gained. So people stopped turning out for Harris. A lot of people flipped to voting for Biden, switching to voting for Trump, and then most of Trump's base, or even possibly all of it, turned out just the same as in 2020. Senate also flipped 4 seats. They went from a 51 to 49 deficit to a 53 to 47 advantage. Again, big swings in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, which is kind of, Manchin was almost a Republican anyways. He still was on the left from my perspective at least, but he was not your typical blue Senate voter. So we flipped that one, but it wasn't a huge change. But yeah, flipped 4 seats, went from a deficit to a +6 majority. And then the House, we don't know how it's going to finally end up. This is one of the ones that just hasn't been fully called yet. I believe other places have 219 for the Republicans already, but it's pretty widely accepted that the Republicans are going to hold on to the majority. I think we are expected to lose a seat or two, though, but still enough for a majority. So moving forward, we have Republican president, Republican Senate, Republican House, and a majority conservative bench in the Supreme Court. This is, again, major repudiation of everything that's happened the last 4 years under Biden and Harris, and also a major mandate for the Republicans. Republicans have to get things done. We are going to have every part of the government for the next 2 years at least. Do something with it. Do not sit on your hands. Do not slow roll. Do something with the mandate that the American people have given you. That's all I've got for today. See you next time.